everybody. I don't know about you, Tom, but I feel like a lot of stuff has happened since the last time we recorded. Just like in general in life.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is getting dicey out there.
Yeah, be safe.
Yeah.
It's a time.
It's that time. So this is coming a few weeks after us recording the Spider-Man 3 episode. Welcome to the podcast where we ask the question, Hey.
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 Remember the Aughts?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Courtney.
And I am Tom.
And we talk about everything from the Aughts and inspired by the Aughts. I didn't have anything planned by...
Just name two
Save
albums.
the last... What?
Just name two albums. That's what I do when I don't remember.
No, I've got some weird ones.
Okay.
From Save the Last Dance to A Knight's Tale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
What are
was
you gonna
thinking
pick?
about that. Like, we don't get a lot of those movies anymore, but they're kind of... No, Netflix makes them, and they're usually not good.
No. I also, haven't, seen, there hasn't been a good dance movie in quite a long time. And also, there hasn't been a good, anachronistic, time period. Oh, well, there is Bridgerton. But they still do, orchestral versions of pop songs. There hasn't been, a good anachronistic movie set in a time period with the actual, pop songs as the soundtrack.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah.
I was also going to say, teen movies. I mean, they make...
Yeah.
I think teen shows are really good now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, not all. Sex Education is pretty spectacular. But, what was the one we talked about it. What was the one Netflix just did a sequel to? You Oh, and The Kissing Booth? What the fuck?
Yeah. I think that they were on a good stride for a while. I love Always Be My Maybe and Set It Up, or The Setup, whatever it's called. And To All the Boys I've Loved Before. That one's really good. And then it just sort of starts to plummet.
Oh my god.
And then, we went from being this generation of people who are die hard, we want a reboot of this, bring this back, and now we're well, we hate reboots. We don't want that anymore. They suck.
We're at this weird thing where the reboots became sequels that slightly reboot the story, and that was cool for a little bit, but now I'm sick of it. Everything's a sequel that reboots the original. It's listen, just I'm almost craving just a flat out remake or redoing, or especially if it was not good when it first came out. You mentioned a property that it would be good to redo it as a show.
Right. Well, that's how I felt about Cowboy Bebop. A lot of people were oh my god, it's trying too hard to be exactly the same. And it's if it wasn't, then the complaint would be that it's not the same at all. I actually genuinely liked the Cowboy Bebop reboot. I thought it was fun. It was campy. I love that they still have all the same music. But a lot of people didn't like it, and I'm okay, it's either this or they take something you love from your childhood and make it just a tad bit darker and make the cast members a tad bit older, and it's not as fun and it's stupid.
Yeah, I will say, I haven't seen the Cowboy Bebop remake, the Netflix live action. I know you are in the minority, though. I hear nothing but people who hate it.
I know, and then I had people telling me not to like it, and I'm I'm gonna like it.
You know what it is? I enjoyed the anime when it was out, but I wasn't as strictly as a follower of the anime. It's stunning. It's a stunning anime, but it wasn't my favorite of the Adult Swim anime blocks back in the day. So, I was interested, but didn't watch the movie. Maybe I will, but, I know that everything about it is canceled now. They're not doing anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And I just feel they were going to give it a second season. I can't imagine prolonging the story any further than that anyways. I think that they should just give them the second season. What damage would it do to just give it to them? But I'm sure, like, budget-wise, like, it definitely is clear that it's one of those sci-fi properties that if they don't have high ratings, the budget would be incredibly difficult to keep going.
Yeah, it's also...
I know, yeah.
Netflix was burnt when they did it with Death Note, so they just don't have a good track record of this, I guess. I don't know.
They don't have a good grip on it. I think that this was much better than Death Note.
Yeah, I can see that. And I like the director of Death Note. He did The Guest. I love The Guest.
Oh, he did that movie?
Yeah, he did The Guest.
Oh, that's very interesting. Huh. Because that Death Note movie is garbage.
It's garbage, but the Blair Witch movie he made is garbage. I think he should just be allowed to make independent movies of his own inspiration and not do adaptations.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Death Note is another property that, like, they talked about making into a movie for so long. Like, do you remember when Zac Efron was one of the people that they said was going to be? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I did really like Cowboy Bebop, but, I mean, to be fair, at this point, I am just going to stick with my convictions with things that I like. And Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man has been proven to be one of those things that I feel justified in.
Oh my god. Is it safe to spoil? I'm going to spoil.
Okay, I've had everything spoiled for me by now. I know I told you after you went to go see it. Like, do not tell me anything. It's too late. It's fine.
I
still want to go see it.
Andrew Garfield is by far my favorite Spider-Man in that movie. Like,
yes.
It's like Tom Holland has done a great job. I enjoy him, but man, I don't know what it is, but Andrew Garfield was so committed and excited and gave everything to this role in this movie where he's not even the main Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's like the middle child.
It made me feel like, you know what? I want to see more of him. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, and they also, they give him a really beautiful, like, redemption arc in the movie that I thought was really well done.
I have seen this scene. That's why I'm just like, fuck it, at this point. I've just had everything ruined for me. But it still doesn't feel ruined. Like, after that initial thing that was ruined for you and me by Wikipedia.
Wikipedia spoiling the whole,
Yeah, after that, it's like everything that I've seen about it is like sweet and sad and bittersweet and melancholy, but also it's sort of like wrapped up in this beautiful bow. So I don't mind any of the choices that they made. I just feel super vindicated that now a lot of people are like, just give Andrew Garfield his third Spider-Man movie.
But like, I want him as Spider-Man. I don't know if I want it in the same world that movie takes place, unless somebody like, because you haven't seen the second one.
No, I haven't.
There's a lot of damage there. I mean, maybe if they space it out, and it has been like 10 years, and we're watching Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker learn to forgive himself and find love, that might be beautiful. I would enjoy that.
I think with the direction that there's like a lot of rumors going around about is that he would deal with the grief and isolation, and sort of like the way he sort of just focused on being Spider-Man and less about being Peter Parker, that he would face Venom. And then that's how they want to converge those two worlds in like the Sony Spider-Man universe.
So many universes. Also, do you know the ending credit? Have we been talking too much about better movies?
Okay, but hold on now, because I mean the plot of the movie we're supposed to talk about today doesn't not follow the plot of the first Spider-Man movie that we already talked about.
I have a lot of things to say about this movie.
I feel like it's always a bad sign for whatever the topic of the episode is when we are talking about other things that we've like really loved lately.
Can I just say what we're talking about?
Yeah. We should also, like, Tom and I haven't really had a chance to, like, chat and talk. This is the first time we've had a chance to talk in a while. Like, since we saw each other on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot has happened, and we should probably get to the actual point of the episode.
All right, so today we're talking about the 2005 Fantastic Four movie.
I think I'll get a second opinion. The cloud has fundamentally altered our DNA. That's gross.
Reed, look at me.
I can't. He's heating up from his core.
You don't want to walk around on fire for the rest of your life, do you?
Is that a trick question?
Come on, am I the only guy who thinks this is cool?
And then here comes the...
Mm-hmm. All the things.
Would you say this is better or worse or on the same playing field as Spider-Man 3? What do you think of this?
Significantly worse.
Okay.
Like, significantly worse. Like, this is... Oh my god. Like, okay, I thought... Okay, so let me set the scene.
Yeah.
Claude was at my apartment. He was shadowing me, watching what I do for work, and and then he was writing his script, and then I made him dinner, because I care about my sons.
Cute.
I care about my sons. And then I was like,
Your
hey,
grown boys.
do you mind watching this movie with me? And he goes, I haven't seen it since it came out. It should be fun. It should be, like, we knew it was bad, but we thought it'd be fun to watch.
Okay.
Like, it's so bad, it's good watch.
Okay.
It is not. It is...
No.
I think I even said it to Claude, like, we watched Spider-Man 3 and there was a lot of things wrong with it, but what made me at least hold on was the moments where you could see Sam Raimi's passion. Like, you could tell somebody cared.
There's some juice there.
Yeah, Fantastic Four 2005 is the most boring, generic,
Oh my
God.
God.
Uninspired, really weirdly paced, awful CGI, like... Oh my god, like, what is this? Why did I know why they made this movie, but I'm just like, watching it, you're like, who made this decision?
Okay, so I had never watched this movie before.
Yeah, this is my first time also.
Okay, so from my understanding of when it came out, I didn't think it was this bad. I knew it was, like, just okay, but I didn't know it was as bad as it is. And I have so many questions about choices that were made. You mentioned the pacing, and that was wild to me because it just sort of felt like there was no back and forth as far as the script goes. It was just like every person was just saying their lines. And aside from Chris Evans, it felt like everyone was speaking in this, like, monotone level. And Jessica Alba was, like, the worst at that. I think that she can be a good actress. Is she ever going to be, like, an Oscar award-winning actress? Maybe not. But her whole performance in this was just like, hello, it's me, Sue Storm. Why won't you look at me? Victor. Like, I think she was trying to play demure, but it just came off as very dull.
I remember... watching this with Claude, and before the movie starts, he said, I really like Jessica Alba.
Sure.
And by the end of the movie, Claude looked at me and said, maybe she was never a good actress.
Right. I had the exact same reaction. Me and Claude, we get each other. Because I thought the same thing. I like Jessica Alba. We grew up with her as a child actress on, like, Alex Mack and the Disney original movie Punks, which I really enjoyed. And she's been in, like, some small horror movies. And then I realized 2005 was such a big year for her with this movie, Sin City, Into the Blue, right? That's the one with her and Paul Walker?
I think so.
Or Blue Crush.
Like Blue Crush.
There are two Blue movies with surfing, and one of them's Jessica Alba and Paul Walker, and the other one's Kate Bosworth. And I'm not remembering which is which at the moment.
Neither can I. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But then I'm watching this movie, this morning, and I'm just like, what's happening here? Has Jessica Alba tricked all of us?
But okay, this movie, because she was, from what I remember, she was fine in Sin City. She's been fine in most movies I've seen her at, but I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, her personality is charming, she's sweet, we enjoy seeing her, and she's usually enough to pull off the role. But now we're in a movie where, like, where the actors are entirely reliant on themselves, and it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of wondering now if she's ever had an actually good role after Honey. Because I think maybe we've just sort of looked at Jessica Alba and assumed, like, yeah, she'll do the job. We like her. She's a very likable actress. But then also she's kind of had these roles where they don't really give her much to work with. And I think that they try to, like, teeter into giving her something to work with, feeling like she's a valuable member, like people listen to her in the science community, which is a great storyline. And they just can't give it to her because all they do is keep putting her in these little, like, outfits with her boobies hanging out.
Oh, that was a deliberate choice. So,
yeah.
Given this moment, I would like to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes of this franchise, and then I want to know your input because I know you have some research about this movie.
I have a couple things. I watched a couple of videos before we started chatting.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you find?
Like, okay, so this is obviously, like, part of the series this is pre-Disney MCU Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. And part of that was that in the 90s, Marvel had gone bankrupt, and to stay afloat, they licensed out their properties to be made into movies, and it worked to varying degrees. Like, obviously, I guess the first big one was X-Men, or Blade. Mm-hmm. Blade did well, but then X-Men blew it out of the park, and it was like, and then Spider-Man. So now there's a superhero crush, and Marvel properties are making money. Fox had the rights to X-Men and a few other properties, including the Fantastic Four, for a long time. And they've always wanted to do something with it, but never knew how. Mm-hmm. So if there's a textbook definition of just making a movie to hold on to the rights, because that's how it works. You sign on to... You get the licensing rights, but you run up the licensing if you don't make a movie with that title. So even in 1990, I think it was 94, there was an unreleased Fantastic Four movie.
I was going to say, are you bringing up the B movie?
Roger Moore produced Fantastic Four movie that was never released, but was specifically made just so Fox can retain the rights to the property.
Oh, sure. I love that.
Bad, but honestly, it might be more fun to watch. I don't know.
I'm curious because, like, I hate wasting time and I hate wasting money and resources. Like, if I'm baking something and it goes wrong, I'm so frustrated. So I feel like making a B movie that will never be released just so you can hang on to the rights seems like the biggest example of that. I mean, maybe it could be a lot of fun. I've heard it's not good, but it seems like a lot of the directors who came through back and forth, and I'm sure you have more information on that too, it seems like more of them did want to go in the comedy route, and I think that might have been a better choice overall.
Yeah, I did know that this movie in particular was supposed to go in a more comedic route, but that was changed when the new director came in. Mm-hmm. But it's just, like, unfortunately, even to this day, like, the most recent Fantastic Four movie was, what, 2014, I think?
2015.
For some reason, this franchise, the Fantastic Four, has always been the product of, like, only making movies to retain the rights. Like,
yeah.
And it's wild that no one's given it a real serious attempt.
Yeah. I mean, there will be a third rendition of this soon.
Yes, but at least, I will say, at least there is no worry of making a movie to retain the rights. You know,
right.
Like,
it is an actual choice.
For the first time ever, it's just a movie being made to make the movie.
We want to make this thing.
Yeah, and it's like, it's been like, I know some people like that like pulpy family superhero thing is hard to do. It's like, it's been done. The Incredibles is maybe the best version of a fantastic movie we ever got.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that this movie gets compared to The Incredibles in a lot of ways, and it also just handles a lot of the dynamics, a lot of similar powers, and it does it in such a good way. The Incredibles is so good. And then, you know, they just don't do any of that in their own movie. I do wish that Peyton Reed, one of the directors who were maybe possibly signed on for it at some point, I wish that he got his shot at making it, because I really enjoy Peyton Reed movies. Down with Love is like one of my favorite Aughts movies, and I can't wait for us to cover it one day, because it's like a very like pulpy, campy 1950s inspired film. And you know, like with what he's done with the Ant-Man movies, I think he would have been a really good choice for this.
Oh yeah.
He also wanted Jude Law to be Victor Von Doom.
I did hear about this, yeah.
I think that would have been a great Victor Von Doom. This guy, he was weird.
Yeah. He's one, I know that he's the son of the Australian Prime Minister, I think, at the time.
Okay.
But like, yeah, he was hot because he was in Nip Tuck at the time.
Oh, Ryan Murphy.
But like, that's it. Like, I don't think like he's not good in this movie. Also, like,
no.
At the time when the movie came out, I wasn't super familiar with the character of Victor Von Doom, but I have since become more acquainted with Victor Von Doom. And I think I really like Dr. Doom. He is he is a classic archetype of a villain, and I do like Dr. Doom, but in this movie...
What gave that away? Is it the name Dr. Doom?
Yes.
Who comes from Doomstad, which just means Doom City?
I love Dr. Doom, but but like, you know, Doomstad. He's a very, you know, in the comics, he's a very intelligent, like, villain who's always seeking knowledge. That's his thing. He's always trying to seek further knowledge. Like, he knows science, he knows mysticism, you know, and that makes him a good foe against any of the villains. Like, he could be a Doctor Strange villain, he could be a Iron Man villain, he can be a, you know, universe-ending villain.
Well, I think the plan is to bring him in for Black Panther 2, right?
Ooh, that would make sense.
Yeah, I think that's how they're transitioning into, like, bringing it back into the MCU.
But, like, which would make sense. Black Panther, I think, first premiered in a Fantastic Four comic.
I don't remember. I remember learning about that in my comics class in my undergrad, but I don't entirely remember it. We did talk a lot about Fantastic Four, and I mean, part of it was that like it's the longest running like superhero group comic book, and I think it does make sense with the success of X-Men that the expectation would be that Fantastic Four would be just fine, that it would do enough, that it would work out okay.
Yeah, they're like, I'll just make a movie. You don't need to worry about putting effort. But and it's weird because there is effort here. Like, Michael Chiklis wanted to play the Thing. Like, he was so invested in playing the Thing. He even requested that the suit not be CG, and he wore the suit. Like, God bless him. Like, but that's it. Like, Reed Richards, what can we even say about him? He's just there.
Okay, I wanted to talk about that. So, the actor who plays Reed Richards is Ian Grufford, and he is Welsh. And I feel like the whole time that he was speaking, and maybe, you know, vice versa, when British people hear Americans try to put on a British accent, I'm sure it's very, very annoying. I find it annoying. But the way that Ian Grufford is trying to do an American accent, it's so eccentric and exaggerates the American way of saying things. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, nobody talks like that. Just like, take 2 steps back there, buddy. Also, it's a lot.
The character, like, I know that, like, you know, Mr. Fantastic is supposed to be kind of an aloof, very science-focused guy. But in this movie, it's almost like he's just not a person.
Yeah, and also there's just no chemistry
No,
between any of the three people in the love triangle.
not at all. Yeah,
No.
really not at all. And it's just like most of this movie boils down to Sue Storm getting mad at Reed Richards for being too much of a nerd. And then Reed
Yeah.
Richards is like, I don't know how to compute love. It's not science. And it's like,
What's an emotion?
it's like, yeah, this all could have been solved with a conversation. Like, if you just had a conversation. And it's very annoying because it's not delivered well. It's weird.
No. And
It's janky.
also, it's so janky. And then the issue with Sue Storm feeling like she's invisible, I really do feel like they could have pushed that narrative as far as like her work in the scientific field, but they put it more just on like, my ex-boyfriend doesn't notice me. And can we talk about the math of the love triangle between these three people? Okay, so you mentioned the 2015 Fantastic Four. I remember a huge argument about that movie was that everyone in the cast is way too young. The youngest people in that movie were 4 years older than Jessica Alba was as Sue Storm. The year that this movie came out, she was turning 24, which means she had to be 23 when she made the movie. And now I think that this is a product of the 2000s and like 2020, late 2010s filmmaking. But like Ian Grufford is 8 years older than her, 7 years older than her. And then Victor Von Doom, the guy who plays him, Julian McMahon, is 13 years older than her. And she's a director of genetic research at 23?
Yeah, you're not, you're not.
No. And then Victor Von Doom says that, like, oh, these 2 years have been wonderful. It's like, okay, so you've been with her since she was 21, but then they backtrack on that and say that they weren't actually a couple, which is very confusing and very not okay in the workplace.
Not at all.
No. And then, but then also, like, she had a previous relationship with Reed, so that means, because they were at MIT together, which means that, like, she had to be an undergraduate student, and he had to be a master's student, or a TA, or studying his doctorate, or something. Like, I don't know, that's where it gets dicey real fast. Yeah.
Also, they make her get naked on the bridge because boobs.
It's so uncomfortable.
Also,
I hate that so much.
Have you noticed in this movie, all the major conflicts are started by the Fantastic Four?
There are only, like, 2 battle scenes,
There's
too.
only 2 battle scenes, and especially the first one. It's only an action scene because they fucked something up. Like, they caused a... Like, I know the Thing was trying to save the guy from jumping off the bridge, but pretty much he caused the whole thing.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, what is this guy doing? First of all, he shouldn't be hanging off of the bridge, even if he, like, needs some time and space alone. But, like, the whole thing is crazy. So there's the traffic jam, the truck collapsing, and the guy in the truck still somehow seems to be okay. And then Michael Chiklis is like, hey, let me get you out of there, buddy.
Yeah. Also notice that, like, here's a criticism about just filmmaking in general or storytelling. Mm-hmm. This is a storytelling thing. We are compelled to watch characters take action. They make choices, and it's the choices that we follow. Like, we want to see a character in the situation make a choice, and they can either make the right choice and we cheer for them, or they make the wrong choice and we watch the consequences. Sometimes though, when people prioritize set pieces or action over, like, character development, characters are thrown into passive decision making where they they just react to things around them. Like, I think a great example of that is the entire plot of Batman vs Superman, where it's all just. Well, first of all, it's a very passive aggressive movie, and then secondly, there's no decision being made that it changes the plot. It's all like, I think, what's it called in writing? It's called like flowing down the river, like a paper hat flowing down a river, where all the events that happen are like put onto the characters, so they're not making choices, they're just reacting. And that's this movie. It's just one thing after another of like these dum-dums reacting to things that, to be honest, is usually their own fault.
Yeah, and I feel like that also happens a lot in the 2010s, like, dystopic chosen girl phase. Like, a lot of Hunger Games is just riding on Katniss being like, okay, whatever. She just shows up, and she's like, I just want to be with my baby sister, and then that's it. And then other people are like, oh, but Katniss, you are this great symbol. And she's like, I hate all of you. I don't care, you know?
I will say, at least with the first Hunger Games, like, the impact is the very, like, she makes that choice. She decides, I'm gonna substitute myself.
She makes that choice, but and then the way that they both, the way that they both survive at the end is also her choice, but that's still very much, like, based on her bluffing. Like, it could have very well ended, like, they take the nightshade berries and then they both die. Yeah. And then that's, like, about it. She doesn't want to do anything for the other two movies. For 3 movies, I'm sorry.
Jennifer Lawrence was on her way out. She was done. You want to do it anymore.
I don't know. I think she's coming back now.
For more Hunger Games?
Oh, not for Hunger Games. I just meant, like, her career in general. Oh, my bad.
No, she's coming back, but I'm saying, like, the Hunger Games, like, it seemed to be a point where, because Hunger Games and X-Men, First Class, which I love First Class. I'm just going to put it out there. There was a point where, like, those movies blew her name up. Like, she's been an actress before that, but it was X-Men and then Hunger Games, where it's just like, oh, this Jennifer Lawrence character.
I forgot that she's also in, like, Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved her in Silver Linings Playbook. I haven't...
Yeah.
Has that guy made any movies? David O. Russell? Has he made any movies lately?
Oh, the last one he made was Joy.
Oh, yeah, with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
Yeah. But, yeah, there are a lot of choices that these characters make in this movie where things just sort of happen around them, and then Sue, I know she's making noises and sounds that suggest that she's angry at Johnny, but it's still just in the same monotone delivery as every other line in this.
You could honestly, I didn't feel like they were even related or like they knew each other. I got all.
No, it didn't seem that way at all. And even just, like, they have to get to where Michael Chiklis is on the bridge, so she gets invisible and naked, and then somehow they end up sneaking through anyways. And she's like, I hate that you forced me to do that. And they were like, oh, well, we needed you to. No, you didn't. You guys just walked around the ambulance.
That was added because producers were like, we have a very young, attractive Jessica Alba. Put her in boobies, naked.
Yeah.
Booba.
Put her in this bra. Because, you know, when you're the only female who's in a space station, you gotta have your makeup done.
Also,
makeup is very important in space.
There's a random scene I wanted to talk about and break down. Well, first of all, I love Chris Evans, and I think of everybody, he's trying to have the most fun with this.
Yeah.
Like I think him and Michael Chiklis were, like, trying.
I still don't think that, like, Michael Chiklis's passion for the comic book came through enough on his talent. Like, I don't think it was there. I think that, you know, he's expressed, like, a love for the comic books, but he's still just not a very good actor in this.
He's not a very good actor, and I think also wearing that big suit made him tired.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks heavy.
But I wanted to talk about Chris Evans as Johnny Storm because, one, was that haircut in at the time?
Okay, I watched a video that it's kind of like the Mandela effect, where I sort of remembered him having blonde spikes.
Oh, that's from another movie.
Oh, okay.
He was in another comic book movie where he did have blonde stripe.
Was it The Losers?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay, yeah. We have that comic book, but I've never read it. Because we just have a bunch of books that we just don't ever get to reading. But I always remembered him as having the blonde tips. But I think that was also a popular style too. It was like a little bit douchey, but not all the way douchey, but it was douchey enough.
The short buzz cut.
Yeah, I just don't think that his acting is enough for someone to watch this movie and say, you know who was really good in this? The guy who plays Johnny. Like, he still gets snuffed out.
Yeah, he's still not, like, he has enthusiasm, but he's still not good. Also, I just want to talk about how awkward and uncomfortable the scenes were like, he's hitting on the nurse.
Oh, yeah, Maria Menounos, who just shows up as sexy nurse.
Really inappropriately hits on the nurse and is just like, come snowboarding with me. And she does.
Yeah, after she steals a kiss from him. I mean, he steals a kiss from her. I'm sorry. Totally inappropriate. And also, what's the point of her checking the thermometer if there's a gigantic screen behind her that says what his temperature is?
Yeah, it's literally like, you're 500 degrees. And he's like, I'm going snowboarding. And she's like, all right. Then they play some 41 song. Yeah, not concerned at all that something could really be wrong with him. Also, like, the shock and twist for everyone in this film to realize, like, uh-oh, Victor has also been changed. Like, how is that not their first concern? Yeah.
Like, just as scientists, wouldn't they be like, well, he could have also been affected. You should be in quarantine with us.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought that honestly happened in the movie. I was very surprised to watch it and see that he's just going about the Willem Dafoe plotline in the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. I don't know. Also, like, that guy, Julian McMahon, it looks like he has veneers on. His teeth are too white. And then his eyebrows are too brown.
Yeah.
Like, it almost looks, it just looks so off to me. I don't like it.
No, I agree.
And then also, okay, so the scene with Maria Menounos, it like happens, he kisses her inappropriately, and then just like, yeah, sure, fine, they go snowboarding, skiing. That was just really weird. And I feel like the clothing and the costuming style is very 2000s in a way that is not attractive on any of these people. Like, they show Victor in this suit in that first scene, and it just fits him so disproportionately. That was a concern that I had of this movie. It's like, Victor Von Doom, like, first of all, he just starts out evil. You know, even Jeff Bezos, who we've found out a good amount of our viewers are from Amazon.
Yeah. Amazon, one third.
Yeah, a surprise, because we usually talk shit about Amazon and Jeff Bezos. We usually also talk shit about Apple products, but, like, whatever.
They're only 9%.
Yeah, that's fine. So, Jeff Bezos didn't start out as a villain, he just started out as a book nerd. And now we can look at Jeff Bezos and objectively say, that guy looks like a movie villain.
He is
Victor Von
Lex
Doom.
Luthor.
Yes, Victor Von Doom just starts out at current Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
He's like a shadowy figure. I mean, his last name is Von Doom.
Yeah. Also, because the whole thing was that, okay, Rich, like, this, as stupid and nonsensical as this plot is, I only remember this bit.
Mm-hmm.
Reed Richards has a crazy experiment idea, but nobody believes him and they all think he's a hack. But then Dr. Von Doom is like, I'm going to fund this, but I'm also going in the spaceship. And they literally are like, all right, let's do it in a week. And it's like, how does that happen in a week?
Also sounds like a Jeff Bezos thing to do. I think it's 6 weeks, but they don't make that clear. I got that from the Wikipedia plot line, and I'm not gonna lie, the Wikipedia plot summary still made the movie seem more interesting than it actually was. And also, like, how do you go into space and not see the storm coming. Like, look with your fucking eyes. Just look. Don't send him out there.
Yeah. There. How did they miscalculate it so badly? It's like it's coming in 5 minutes.
Yeah, right? Oh no, it's not 7 hours, it's 5 minutes. Like, space storms don't... I mean, I don't consider myself a space storm expert, but I would like to think that there would be changes leading up to that. It wouldn't just be like, oh, now it's here. We're screwed. No, I do like the idea of Doctor Doom as a villain. I just feel like you look at these movies, including the 2015 one, like you just look at the trailers and you just think they're going to make it so difficult to make this character interesting.
Yeah, no, it's very difficult. And it's like they made this weird thing where like he becomes like joint with metal and gets like metal powers. That's also not an origin to the comic. But fun fact, it's not.
Right, like he's a dual mechamancer and also a technomancer or like an electrical mancer, and I'm saying those as two completely different things.
Yeah.
Because at one minute he's like sucking up electrical energy, and then separately he's turning into metal.
Oh yeah, it's just now I need to know. I just need to know for myself because I used to know it, but I want to know like his origin. The actual Doctor Doom origin. In the comics, he's from a tribe of Latvian Romani people, which is,
Doomstad.
Doomstad, yeah.
Doom City.
Let's see. He travels the world. He blah blah blah. He practices discipline. He's got a little more of a complicated history, but it's like what a good origin for a villain.
Yeah, and they use that setting as kind of like a parallel Frankenstein. I think one of the characters, like one of the superheroes or anti-heroes that is created because of Doctor Doom was called Bram Velsing. And I really like that. I'm totally for that. It's almost like Bizarro Vienna. Yeah. So I thought that would be really interesting. I just think that every time they try to do something with this character in movies, they think like, okay, his name is Doom, so we have to make him obviously super evil, and then he should just be shrouded and covered and hidden all the time.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Okay, so he kills the investor who lets him go, which wasn't a shock. But what does he also do that's like really sinister? I think that, okay, also like the whole plot of like Johnny can be the temperature of a supernova, which they get completely wrong in the movie, fine, whatever. But then they keep comparing it to like a sun. But then they also are like, well, let's just build a small one in our penthouse apartment. No wonder he's bankrupt with that penthouse apartment. Yeah, like they completely messed up all of the science and like kept like interchanging the words like sun and supernova, even though those are two completely different things.
Yeah, they're not the same.
No. So it's just like a lot of it didn't make any sense.
Also, I want to say that the stretching mechanics of Dr. Fantastic was gross. Like,
was that not good?
No, like just that scene where he slips his hand under the door. That was visually upsetting.
The fingers.
Like, I know they're trying to establish like he can flex and fit through things, but like that was just awful.
You know what? I think it was the emphasis on like the curves of the fingers. That's not an attractive thing to focus on.
Oh, God.
Can we also quickly talk about the sort of, like, okay, I thought that this could have been a very interesting, and I feel like it was actually taken a little bit seriously, the, like, ableist plotline of this.
Oh, you mean with the thing?
Yeah, I feel like that was actually handled quite literally and not ironically. Like, the way that the thing is treated is very much like the way that like people are viewed with different capabilities in the 2000s. Like, you know, they're just like, oh my god, like, look at him, is he really like that?
Yeah.
And I thought that that was like handled very well. I liked the way that they went about that. Like, he can't use the utensils, everything is difficult for him now, and they're not like creating any pathways for his life to be easier. And then they get to Kerry Washington as a blind woman. Did that feel off to you?
It did, but also,
Okay.
like So, to comment on the thing. Remember the
Yeah.
bit where he puts on the suit and he tries to like hide, and he tries to see his fiance, and she
Oh my
runs
God.
away.
Oh my god, we didn't even get to that yet.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
then
god.
he say like, well, first he caused the destruction on the bridge, but then he like saves the day, and the crowd is cheering, you know, Fantastic Four, you know, whatever they're cheering. She
Yeah.
comes to the bridge to look at him and just throw the engagement ring on the ground. Like, what was that?
What was that? I mean, first of all, what woman, when she hears that, like, her fiance is outside, he made it home, and she just, like, walks out in her lingerie?
Yeah.
That is just a safety hazard. And then, she just immediately runs away from him. And then, like, some guy, like, people are just like, oh, it's that guy. Look at that creep. He obviously upset that woman. Even though, like, I don't know, that was a really uncomfortable scene, and it was so weird. But then also, like, remember that bit where, like, Kerry Washington acted like a woman with special needs, even though, like, you can be blind and not act like a
Yeah, the acting
stereotypical
was
movie
ham-fisted.
example of disabilities?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable. Kerry Washington's early career is very interesting. It's just weird, and we've got a second one to get through. I thought this would be more delightful than it actually was.
It wasn't.
Anyways, that's my bad.
Don't be. We were gonna watch this anyway, but
Yeah. I thought it'd be fine.
Can I ask the question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you think this movie would hold up today?
No.
Good, because it's not. It's not even fun to watch.
It's not fun. It's not even, like, a bad fun. Like, I think we'll have fun with some of the other ones. Like, Daredevil will be hilariously bad.
Okay.
Or, like, Ghost Rider. I enjoyed Ghost Rider a little bit. But this, there's just no joy out of this.
No, it's devoid of anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad we answered that, but do you want to ask the follow-up question?
Tom,
Yes.
what has been your obsession this week, or the past couple of weeks, since we haven't gotten a chance to record recently?
I watched Lord of the Rings and
Yes.
and The Two Towers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think The Two Towers is a spectacular movie, and that made it click for me. I was like, oh, I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy about that. But other than that, just work and bullshit. So what about you?
I have been trying not to order Starbucks as much. I definitely got in the habit of just having it delivered to me, which is terrible. 'Cause I'm lazy and I don't like the cold, and I could have just easily gotten up and gone to walk to Starbucks. So I have been actually just making a lot of cold brew at home, and I've been adding syrup, like flavor syrups,
Nice.
to make it more interesting. So flavored cold brew, which is really basic.
No, that's fair. Enjoy and treat yourself.
Thank you. I did have one more thing that I wanted to add about our Spider-Man 3 conversation after we finished recording. So, we talked a lot about, like, different possible actors, and I liked the idea of, like, going back to Joe Manganiello for Venom. But then I was also thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? If you're going to go in the direction of, like, you need a skinny white boy that is similar to Tobey Maguire, you need to go with a trashy white boy. Because I think Topher Grace was too much in the same lane as Tobey Maguire. He was still too much of that, like, nice guy. If you needed a parallel, I think somebody like Matthew Lillard would have been amazing. Because he could play that psychopath. He can tap into that.
Yeah. I mean, I think of, spoiler alerts, I think of Scream. You've got a good point
Exactly.
there.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think somebody like Matthew Lillard, or even somebody like Dax Shepard, like somebody, he's never really been in that kind of a serious role, but I just think like some guy who is known for playing the roles where it's like they really need their comeuppance to the point that they're like desperate for it. I think it's more believable from a person like Dax Shepard or Matthew Lillard, who, you know, like either comes from that originally, like in Dax Shepard's case, or can really like harness that, like Matthew Lillard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wanted to come back to that.
All right. I see that. I can see that.
I feel like I needed to add this as like an addendum to our Spider-Man 3 episode.
Amen. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think Matthew Lillard would have been really interesting.
Fair. Want me to wrap it here?
All right. Yeah, that's it. There's not much else to talk about with this movie.
That's fair. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sorry. It's the Fantastic Four. It's very
We don't want to
painful.
talk about it anymore.
No, I don't want to talk about it. I want to pretend like it never happened.
Like, there's other stuff we can mention, but there's no point.
Yeah. But be sure to follow us on the Instagram. Remember the 00S podcast, and find us where most podcasts are found. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
That's it. I'm tired of talking about this.
All right. Well, bye, guys.
Bye.
Whoa. Where do we think we're going?
I don't know if we've noticed, but the sickest runs this side of the Alps are right outside that window.
Yeah, I've noticed. But there are rules here. You can't leave until we
finish the test. I know I've never been good with rules. You let me know how those come out. Do you want to help me with the zipper?
You know, this is not a ski resort.
Not yet. Luckily, Grandma still sends care packages, though. You know, it's amazing. For an 80-year-old woman, you'd be surprised.
You are trouble.
Trouble is my middle name.
Oh, you're hot.
Why, thank you. So are you. And I'm not afraid to cry.
No, I mean, you feel a little feverish.
Well, I've never felt better in my life. My God, you smell good. Listen, when do you get off work?
4, but
Tell you what, you meet me at 4:01 at the top of the mountain. I'll give you a minute to freshen up. This is yours. Oh, that's mine. Narcissus.